Yay! What up-is? What up-is, guys? Welcome, boys. Hallo, hey, lucky shot. Hoe gaat het, jongen? Alles lekker? Are you already learning Dutch? What up is Miraco, Supersonic, Deft is here, I see, guys. Deft is the co-caster of today. We will do a duo cast, or co-caster. He is the other caster. Not placing myself in front of Deft, you know. We're exactly equal. Not speaking about co-casters here. NRT, Mr. Spock is in the house once again. Humpy, Yoko, everyone is here. Good to see you guys. What up is... My opinion for 1000 on Shiba? You wanna get down that road, huh? Shiba is a meme coin. And it's funny to see what is going on. But at the same time, I hate it. You're not so fine. My hard drive from PC is fused. No gaming at the moment. Shit. That's not really great, man. Hope you can fix it soon. Spider was sinking in the mud, apparently. Shit. Yo, Moo, what up? Welcome, 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 guys. Let me take some kill pastille here. Although I do not have kill pine. There we go. Great stuff. Alright. Hydrate. Yeah, thanks. I already took the sip. Alright, guys. Today we are gonna watch the quarterfinals, basically, of the main bracket of the PTC. And we will see Razorlight against Devil and Storm against Dopamine. Pizzavik is RIP. Yeah, Pizzavik is RIP. Yoko. You're waiting for your next opponent. Yeah, let me grab the info here, guys. Let me grab the info here for you. Alright, so what do we have here? Oh shit, somebody told me how to... Ah, there we go. Alright, so... The matches right now. So what we saw in the last game week, let me see here. Last week, I couldn't be here, was Storm against Tsuna. Storm won from Tsuna. It was a really close match, actually. Doba against Stiko. Stiko got clapped, but that was just the alien playing. Mew against Racer. Mew going to the loser bracket there, but there is still good hope for him. So that's great. Razorlight 29-17. Good job by Razorlight. Nice score there. Devil against Spider. Oof. Oof. 26 against 25. Holy moly, guys. That was a beast of a match. So today we have Razorlight against Devil, and then we have Storm against Dopamine. Before we are going to the semi-finals here. And let me show you the other side of the bracket, which is here. Cass is waiting for his opponent. Will be the loser of match 54. So Cass will play against Racer or Devil. And Mew is also waiting here. He will play against Dopa or Storm. So what is my guess here? My guess here is that Mew will face Storm, because the alien Dopa will probably win that match. I think we can all agree on that. So Mew Storm, that will be a very, very, very close fight. A very close fight, guys. Mew Storm will be very interesting. And then there will be Cass, and this I cannot say. Razorlight against Devil is the match that we will focus on. Razorlight Devil is also the match that you can bet on, guys. So in a couple of minutes, take your channel points and put your money where your mouth is and bet on Razorlight or Devil to win this 1v1. So we'll start the bet before the match starts, and then we'll get into it. And then I think next week, right? 7th of November, yeah. We will move into the semi-finals and then the grand final bronze medal match. So that's all great. Alright. Alright. Should I come to IKEA tomorrow? Yeah, I'm working. I'm working tomorrow, 9 to 6. If you want to meet up, what up is... Alright. We are in the server already. I will soon give Deft a call and we will chill out here. And we can check the match here. Alright, Dopamine already here. Devil here. Devil and Dopa here and Supreme here. So we are waiting for Racer and Storm. Deft is here as well as a spectator. If everyone is here, I will give Deft the call. So we will patiently wait for Razorlight and Storm to show up. And I still have to finish my kill pastille, so I'm not ready yet, guys. Alright, Storm and Razorlight are here. Alright, give me a minute. The last F-Cakes alive, all were eliminated. Alright, so for you who are not familiar with how this works, we will do the following. We will do rounds, then we will do time attack, and then we will do endurance. So rounds is just rounds mode. We will drive rounds a couple of times. People collect points and the winner moves on with a lot of points and the loser does not have that many points. As simple as that. Time attack, we will do an 8-minute time attack. And endurance, we'll do a 10-minute endurance. So that's it. That's it, guys. Fuck, this fucking candy takes really long to to suck away, you know? Shit. Ah, I see Devil in the chat. That's amazing. Devil, you can't hide. I already saw you. Good luck on the match, mate. Alright. It's time now. Yeah, it's time. Yo, Raptor. Guys, let me give Deft a call here. Let me call Deft. What? There we go. Yo, Raptor, thank you so much for the subscription, my man. Thank you.
Well, hello.
Yo, Deft, what up is? How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good actually. Just hoping to see another banger of a match after what we saw yesterday. Maybe
Very
a
nice.
bit closer this time.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you so much for joining me here in the PTC action. Good to speak to you.
It is a pleasure, and we're gonna have a few opportunities to do this actually, because at this point, with the Final Four and everything, we at least agreed to cast the finals together. We can maybe do it a few more times, depends on how you feel about it.
Yeah, that would be great.
Players warming up and everything, I think it might be a pretty good idea to actually check how they got here. Since these four players are still the only ones in the tournament that are undefeated as of today, didn't drop a single full match. Razorlight, the most impressive among them, actually only dropping 23 points in total on his way here.
Wow.
99 rounds won, 99 points and 23 points lost for a difference of 76.
Whew.
Devil might be facing his biggest challenge yet, for sure. And Razorlight might be trying to break his streak of not reaching the finals, settling for that third place match. Devil himself, not that bad actually, 97-26 in total.
That's a good
Dopamine
score.
actually dropping 35 points, a bit more than the two of them, but admittedly he had to fight Kez in the first round. That's where he dropped, I think, 25 of the 35 in total.
Sick. All right.
And in the end, Storm also made it here, 91-56. Top 6 finish guaranteed for him, but hopefully he does make it pretty competitive against Dopamine.
I think Storm...
So what are your bets?
Yeah, Storm can be pretty consistent, so I'm looking forward to see if he can give the Alien the challenge here. Although, of course, my bet would be on Dopamine himself. Razorlight against Devil will be a very close call. I cannot say who is the favorite there for me. We know Razorlight is really consistent, as I tell everyone for 10 years now. But Devil himself is also very fast, very consistent driver, so will be very, very interesting.
Yeah. Honestly, just seeing a more competitive matchup than yesterday is what we're looking for here today. And more importantly, we saw Kez yesterday driving like an absolute maniac. On his way through the loser bracket. He's played 6 matches in total, won 5 straight after that first loss, and we have to see how his times actually compare to the remaining players here today and how Mew's times actually compare to them.
Yeah.
Just so we have a bit of a preview of what's going to happen in the loser bracket with the two that are unfortunate enough to lose this match.
Yeah, that will be interesting to see. So the loser bracket, what do you think? Mew still there? Still some chances left?
Surprisingly, Mew looked much improved yesterday, so there were still some shades of his legendary inconsistency, depends on how you look at it, but not only was his pace on point, he was actually keeping up quite solidly throughout most of the match, and at this point he kind of has to. If you look at the 6 that are remaining, I don't really see Mew as a favorite. I think he can enter the final 4, but I'm not exactly sure how much of a favorite he would be in the third place match in the grand final if he does make it there. So he has to showcase an even higher level of performance, and obviously he's just going to be looking at this stream, probably trying to figure out just how good Storm is looking, since we do assume that Dopamine is going to take that victory, enter the final 4 today, unless a bit of a miracle happens, if I'm going to be quite honest with you.
That will be out of this world. If Storm manages to flip it here, not expected, but yeah, we'll see. A lot of great stuff happens in Trackmania, so it might happen today again.
And this is the first map, that is Mana Spear by Ronig, which is a map that requires surprising patience, quite honestly. Driving through these corners without touching the wall, as seen yesterday, is far more challenging than it might seem at first glance, and of course, the rounds format is 6 rounds per map, and it's as simple as it gets. The winner of each particular matchup receives a point, and the loser gets absolutely nothing.
There you go.
So this is where you can create a pretty early lead, and you can make it quite substantive. Normally, I would say that rounds leads decide matches quite early. But then again, Devil himself is here after coming back from a 6-point deficit against Spider to win by 1 point in total.
Awesome.
So
yeah,
I think you need to open some bets before this warm-up finishes.
Yeah, it's true. I was looking where I can do that in Streamlabs, but I can't see it here. So I will try to quickly get some bets going through the website here. Let's hope I can make it happen, guys. Let's see. We're in the warm-up still, so it should be fine.
So as Removic sets that up, I am going to take over casting for a while. We're live with round 1, so the winner's bracket matches begin. This is the final round of the winner bracket. There's no further to go. The winners qualify for the final 4, and the losers have one last opportunity to make that coveted spot. The first few corners should be pretty uneventful, but after that, we're off to the races. as we're gonna see what happens as they head into these first corners. Racerlight, with that early precision he's known for, always on point mechanically, and he has about a tenth of a second lead. Dopamine surprisingly last so far, but he is one corner away from making up multiple positions, and there is almost nothing separating these players at the moment. The level of competition is greatly increased, but we have the first person touching the wall. Devil touches the wall. He's out of this round, and it looks like it's going to be Racerlight scoring the first point, but Dopamine now with superb pace taking the overall lead after being a 10th down. Coming into lap 2, Storm slightly further behind, about 0.3 of a second behind. Devil nowhere to be seen. Lap 2 now trying to maintain that safety, not touch the walls.
Storm still hanging in here. Looking for some pace to catch Dopa.
Bit of a late round comeback from Storm. Has quite decent pace. It is Dopamine that manages to come back from a deficit. Racerlight with that final corner dropping a lot of pace, and Storm will actually complete the overtake. 124.6 for Dopamine, 125 for Storm, and Racerlight surprisingly Kez's pace unmatched so far. He was setting 124.4s yesterday.
Wow.
In terms of scoring, we don't have the scoreboards today, but I will keep you updated. That should be the first point for Storm, and wait, what am I saying? The first point for Dopamine and the first point for Racerlight.
There you go.
It is a bit harder to keep up without the scoreboards, but we will keep you posted. Into round 2, then we go.
There we go. So
now
bets are set up now. Chat, if you want to bet, you can still do that. Who wins the match? We will be showcasing Racerlight against Devil here. So you can bet on it with your channel points. Please use them, and
the
we'll
round
see here.
begins. It looks like somebody is dropping a lot of pace. I think that might have been Devil, who went from first to last, but he's still only a tenth of a second behind. Should be able to make the comeback. Storm now dropping a little bit of pace, and Racerlight as well. You can tell that the smallest releases just to stay on the track cost you so much, but it is Storm that touches the wall. Surprisingly not that far behind. Racerlight touches the wall now.
Yeah. Racer out against Devil here. Devil looking really good. Storm looking to gain some speed to overtake Dopa, but he is far out. So Dopa and Devil looking good here. Racerlight touching the wall, not something we see that often, but he is gone.
Out in front. 125-0 for Racerlight, and then a wall touch. So that's definitely a level below what we saw yesterday from Kez, and on par with Mew, I'd say. Not exactly what we expect, but what is this? That's which
Devil.
one was it? It was Devil touching the wall.
Yeah, he is still on time though. Wow.
He should be on time indeed, and Dopamine secures his second point. Devil, however, equalizes against Racerlight. He does manage to survive, although that mistake in the end could have easily cost him the round.
Yeah, it was close still.
Both players in that match do need to improve on the consistency metric. In terms of the pace, Kez still unrivaled. Dopamine 124.7 is a great time, but it is about 2 to 3 tenths of a second slower than Kez's most consistent performances.
Kez
so into round
good.
3 then.
Very nice.
Definitely looking like the most menacing player coming out of that loser bracket.
Yeah,
of course, that draw in round 1 was the stuff of a century. We basically saw a grand final preview in round 1.
Awesome.
And another Danish player touching the wall. It's Devil again, so that's 3 mistakes in as many rounds. Not exactly the start he was hoping for. In the meantime, though, Dopamine and Racerlight now a bit further ahead. Storm drops some pace, heading into that corner, barely avoids the wall, about 3 tenths of a second behind now. Dopamine leading. Storm touches the wall this time.
Yeah, a bit too close, trying to gain some advantages.
Racerlight looks a bit unstable there. Will be 2 tenths of a second behind Dopamine, who seems to be the best in terms of pure pace right now.
Yeah, Dopa looking consistent here. And Storm looking to get back, but Dopamine is far out. Devil is also far out now. As you said, some mistakes are made by Devil and Racerlight as well, so that will be interesting to see who comes out on top of in that match there.
And to be fair, it's not a very good look if you lose this, because you are arguably going to face a match of completely equal difficulty, except that time with the additional pressure of elimination, so can't say it's really going to be looking good. Devil sets the fastest lap with a 37.94 in his final lap, but Dopamine now 124.5, finally putting those elite level times in, and absolutely
looking good.
Showcasing a good performance. I think he won all 3 rounds against Storm so far.
Yeah.
Not keeping precise track, but we'll know after each map how things look into round 4. Then we go, only 3 remaining on this map, including this one, of course. First few corners are always a bit uneventful, but as you can see, Storm already about a tenth of a second, 500ths of a second behind just in these first few corners where there's basically nothing to lose. And you might think that's not particularly important, but small margins have decided rounds before, and you kind of don't want to give your opponents a free tenth of a second before the race has even started.
Devil again here. Into the wall he goes. Little touch there. Makes him lose some speed and loses the connection to the field once again. So not looking good for Devil here.
4 mistakes in 4 rounds, not exactly the start he wanted, especially considering that this is basically as good of a chance as you're gonna get to actually get into the final 4, because I think his side of the bracket would cross with Kez, which is not a matchup you want to endure. Arguably, it's even harder than Racerlight, so hopefully he does wake up. Meanwhile, we have a great battle at the front. Dopamine and Racerlight, almost nothing separating them, basically 100th of a second. Dopamine does regain a little bit more pace heading into the ending, but it looks like a good one from everyone. Racerlight dropping the pace to Storm. What an
moly.
ending.
Storm like a rocket.
124.8 for Storm and 24.6 for Dopamine. So the consistency is there from Dopamine. Perhaps the pure pace is a tenth or 2 of a second down on Kaz, but then again, just not making any mistakes is good enough, and Dopamine finishes first in all 4 rounds so far.
Yeah, looking good for him.
Head and shoulders ahead of the field, and I don't know, a little bit of a... Again, although the matches seem so tight on paper right now, I think both matches are at 3-1 or 4-0, so not all that close, and not exactly a good look for the competitors on the losing end. This time Racerlight, uncharacteristic of him to make a little bit of a drop early, so he's going to be a 10.5 of a second behind. Devil, who leads this time, needs to put another point on the board, and that should make equalizing it a bit easier.
Yeah, let's see if we can keep it up here against the rest of the field. Maybe he can take a profit from Racerlight making an early mistake there. Looking better for Devil now, but he has to keep it up in order to
Racerlight
some
is
points.
making up some speed, and Devil is in 3rd place, so there's only a tenth of a second between the two of them right now, and this is still a round that Racerlight can complete the comeback on if Devil doesn't keep it together until the very end. Let's see if anyone does touch the wall like yesterday. No, they all avoided, and that's a lot of speed retained through the corner. Super high level of play on display right here. Almost nothing separating the 4 players. 2/10 of a second between 4 of the 6 remaining Primetime Cup contenders.
Here's
But Racerlight, final corner, trying to make the comeback on Devil. I think he will.
He will get it. Holy moly. Wow.
Less than
That's
100th of a
insane.
second. 6,000ths of a second. Racerlight sneaks away another point, and that's going to hurt because now Racer leads 4-1 instead of Devil putting it to 2 and 3. So, oh, that's going to feel bad. That might decide the match in the end. If he loses by only 1 point, he's going to be looking at this, and he's going to be...
Very, very well done by Racerlight. So much speed in the end. He carried through the last corner there to execute the attack very well on Devil. And even though Devil stayed alive there, he did not manage to win the round. So he will have to find some points somewhere else. Maybe this round. Let's see.
This round is a must-win. Otherwise, Racerlight has a 5-1 lead, and you don't really see Racerlight dropping many rounds.
True. Yeah.
And the time attack maps are as close as they can possibly be, so you can't really count on getting those tenths of a second. You need to start getting points back in rounds. Not going to be easy to come back in time attack, but again, Devil has the lead, and this time it's looking a bit more solid, I think.
Yeah.
Racerlight, however, with plenty of speed entering lap 2, it is Storm that drops instead. Small touch on the wall is going to send him packing, but can the Devil complete it? This time his lead is even greater. He has 2.5 tenths of a second. If a 1/4 of a second isn't enough, I don't know what is. At this level, you can't ask for more advantages. Racerlight with another bad corner. It's almost half a second now.
Yeah.
Devil cannot choke this. Take it easy, man, but finish the round. He does take my words quite seriously. It does seem that he has the pace again.
Yeah, looking very good
touched
here.
The ball. Was that Dopamine or Devil?
Ooh, I think it was
Dopamine
with
the first mistake, but doesn't drop the round to Storm, as Storm made a mistake earlier, and it is Devil that does secure that second point. So, 4-2 for Racerlight against Devil, and I think Dopamine Storm is a 6-0. We are going to check that with the match admin, but Not
Yeah,
as close
looking
as we
good.
might have hoped in some of the matches.
Yeah, that's true. Dopamine taking it down there 6-0. Very consistent performance of him. And Razorlight really taking profit from some of the mistakes that Devil made early on. Of course, Devil took a point in the end as well to make it 4-2 there, but will be very, very hard for him to come back from that.
And indeed, like Dolan points out in chat, 4-2 is still close, but when you consider that Devil made 4 mistakes in the 4 initial rounds and then lost one by 6 thousandths of a second,
Yeah,
I don't know. Devil must feel like he was actually able to take the lead on map 1, and I'm sure he would have wanted to, because against Razorlight, you can't really pray for a comeback.
that's
The
true.
mistakes come few and far between. You must be the one actually taking a proactive advantage, and the second map, the Force of Nature by Happy,
Yeah,
it's
let's
about as
see.
close as you get. Risking on this map is a surefire recipe to send you hurtling towards the nearest wall. There is just no margin for error, and you have to be on point.
Very, very
Of a
close.
lower speed map than we would perhaps normally see, so you can't afford to make any mistakes, and the small differences in technique might just mean everything. On that particular corner,
Yeah.
that backed 180 at the end, you can take a no drift or you can take the drift, and it does dictate your pace.
We
for the
see
end of the
the,
lap.
like you said, the slow-paced corner there with a little piece of grass. How do you think that will be affecting the racers here? Is there any advantage you can take there, or just
Well, it's
go
not
as
really an
close?
advantage so much as a disadvantage. We saw yesterday the Spider, unprepared on these maps, was just bleeding multiple tenths of a second per lap on it, and I don't think you
Yeah.
can afford that kind of margin here. Another thing to note is actually the first corner. Normally, the start of a map doesn't really mean anything, but on this map you can actually gain about a tenth of a second here if you're really precise and your opponent is not. We already saw much smaller margins decided, so a tenth of a second for free is not something you want to pass up on. To the first round then, and it is Razorlight leading, but there's basically nothing separating them, only Storm about 2/10 of a second behind. And as you can see, yes, he went into it with a lot of speed, but you can't exit it, and that's going to cost him 4.5 tenths of a second. Looks like a free round for Razorlight unless a miracle happens. Storm and Devil now trailing further behind. Dopamine sets the fastest first lap.
Razorlight not
But he did
looking
make a
really
bit
good
of
there. Yeah,
Indeed, he does drop a lot of his lead. It's only 2/10 of a second now. Devil can complete the comeback here. He has more speed heading into this banked corner. Surely not
so
another
close.
banker between the two of them.
Very, very nice. Devil looking for the overtake here on Racer. He has the
He does
momentum.
complete
Actually
the overtake, but can he exit this
taking-
corner better this time? No, again.
loses some speed here. Razorlight
bit
with
too
better
aggressive
speed.
and-
Yeah.
As long as Razorlight doesn't touch the wall, and he doesn't, I think this is a done round. So Devil needs to examine his technique in that corner
Oi.
because it doesn't seem to be the right one. Dopamine 120.78. I think that is either the fastest or one of the fastest rounds we've seen thus far. Rest of the pace pretty average at 121.3. I say average, average for the standards of the top 6,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
average by any means. Level
Very
of play,
fast.
very high. But Devil touched the
Devil.
wall.
Yeah.
It's the first
already
corner.
here. Aye,
You
aye,
can
aye.
really make some things happen, and unfortunately for Devil, he's just going to keep bleeding points, and things go this way. Razorlight is going to have a 6-2 lead, and at that point, you start asking yourself, how is the comeback possible? Because the time attack maps are very short, classic flat maps. You know that all of these players have incredible technique on these kinds of maps, and assuming that you're going to get a tenth of a second over your opponent's not nearly enough.
Yeah. Oh, Devil made a
Out of
big
the
mistake
round
here
after a
again.
serious mistake.
Yeah. So Racer looking to take this home easy, and Storm actually hanging on here with Dopa and Racer pretty good.
Storm only about a tenth of a second behind Dopamine, but this is what you can see. So these sharp corners actually in the first part of the map, going too aggressively into one means you can't turn in on time. You have to release and you have to lose a lot of time, and that's why Storm is now 3.5 tenths of a second behind.
Yeah.
Dopamine looking absolutely indomitable here at the very beginning. He was the favorite, but I guess some points for Storm should be on the cards, maybe in time attack. But so far in rounds, I don't think he's gotten a single one. Even when Dopamine made that one mistake, Storm had already made a bigger one earlier.
Yeah.
Touches the wall at the end
Yeah,
to drop it. Dopamine fastest lap by a wide margin, by 2/10 of a second, 36.59, fastest we've seen.
Wow. That's fast. That's very, very well done.
120.64, that is a level above Kez even, so just indomitable on this second map, mastering all of its intricacies very, very well indeed. And
Very well done by
the way
Dopa.
things are going, he's gonna secure that Final Four qualification much sooner than anyone could have foreseen.
Yeah, he's doing very, very well. A lot of consistency shown by him at the moment, and giving Storm a hard time. And I think Storm is doing pretty well himself, with Dopa just one class above the rest here. So let's see if we can keep
And
it
to be
up.
fair, all four players here have a very high level in absolute terms. There's a reason they're in the top 6. The problem is that even the smallest mistakes here, some things that you might consider insignificant or comebackable in the earlier matches, there's just no margin for error when you're doing this, when the round is only 1 minute and 20 seconds long and you're racing against other elite drivers.
Yeah,
So it's just about, you know, being on your very best showing. Storm does manage to recover some speed heading into lap 2, but he's already 0.4 of a second behind, and round looks basically uncomebackable. It is Devil against Racerlight that's a bit closer though, but Devil might have taken a bit of a weird line into that banked corner, does not have a lot of speed. Does he drive this one better this time? Yes, he
Yeah,
does,
it
but
looks good.
Racerlight still 10th of a
Let's
second
see.
ahead.
yeah. Let's see if
Devil had
Devil
to
can keep
brake
it up.
additionally. That's not gonna be enough. You do have to take that corner perfectly. You can't afford a release. Dopamine does manage to complete the comeback, finish that round first.
Well done.
120 for Racerlight as well, and Devil did drive a very good round in absolute terms, but it's not good enough.
Yeah,
You have to
small
be
breakings
yet one
there as
better.
well. Yeah. We saw him break just a little bit, and just as you said, you can't afford to do that there, especially against an opponent like Racerlight. So
Exactly.
That was struggling.
These mistakes are trivial. It's a battle of razor thin margins, and it might not seem like it. Just spectating it doesn't do justice to how hard it actually is
yeah,
to set times this fast and to set them consistently.
that's
Spectator
very,
view
very
will
true.
never do it justice, and despite how it might look like players are driving very inconsistently or dropping rounds, it's still a high-level performance in absolute terms. Devil again looking a bit confused by that corner, and
Struggling.
again he's going to be 0.3 of a second behind, and as the points for Racerlight add up, I really don't see the comeback happening given the
Ooh,
map
Racer
back,
with
but
a
it's
small touch though there into the wall. So Devil overtaking might be looking for his, I think, first point on this map here.
should be the first point on this map, and just as I'm talking about Racerlight's consistency, cast and cursed him. Not the first time, not the last time that's going to happen this tournament,
yeah.
I can tell you that much.
Let's go. Alright, so Racer a
game
little bit
just
cursed, but
Goes goodbye.
yeah, let's see what he can do here against
Back
Devil.
into the
So,
spectator view. Devil just needs to not... there have been some touches actually on the exits of these banked corners, so have to be
Yeah.
wary of that one. But Devil does complete the first point. Very nice lap as well, with a 36.8 and 121.1 overall.
yeah, that's actually well done by Devil. Let's see if he can keep that form. Of course, Racerlight made a mistake here, and it looks right now that if Racerlight doesn't make a mistake, Devil has a hard time actually keeping up with him. So Racer, with all his consistency that we joked a bit about in last round, but yeah, let's see if he can stay consistent here.
And yeah, if you're Racerlight, you have to be looking at this here as your chance, sort of, to finally break out. Racerlight, I think, has multiple top 3 finishes or top 4 finishes, but I don't think he's been in the finals in any year, actually. I
No,
can't
I
recall
don't
a
think
year
so.
where he was actually in the final, and he has to think that this could be the year, just because of the actual pace that he's displayed. This time it's not just consistency, but he's actually up there on pace.
Oh, Devil.
That was Devil
into the
touching the
wall.
wall.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he is out, unfortunately, if Racerlight keeps that up. But yeah, just as you were saying, Racerlight combining speed and consistency this season. So looking very good for him. Storm a little bit behind as well, or a little bit, actually 1.3 seconds already, 1.4. So Dopa and Racer looking good here.
That's actually interesting to point out. The reason why Dopamine actually gains that 0.3 of a second, it's all in 1 or 2 corners. On this particular map, it is actually the first one coming into a new lap, so not the start of the map, but the first corner, the sharp, flat left-hander into flat right-hander turn, and the opposite one in the following corner. That's actually where he gains all of his time, just by driving it so close to the wall and turning in at the perfect time to know how to release any of his speed. Just one corner makes all the difference. You'd think, you know, we're past that point in the cup, but we really aren't. And
yeah, it's true. You can see him execute it very, very well every single time. So he gains a lot there. And as you say, it's in the small things, the small margins that can get you a big advantage on this kind of level. So Dopa knows
look
that.
at this. The Dopamine had a 10th of a second advantage heading into that
already.
checkpoint just from the start of the map.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane.
That's insane.
And you have to look at it this way. It's just if tech is the art of drifting, if speed is the art of speed sliding, then NASCAR is the art of releasing and just being a little bit off on your releases. You won't be able to make these corners with the perfect time, and you start bleeding additionals. But this time it's Devil actually that leads into lap 1. Does he get to retain that lead? Racerlight with a bit more speed into checkpoint 1, but Devil maintains about a 10th of a second the advantage, and Racerlight touches the wall.
Ooh.
Devil should be able to secure this point. Uncharacteristic error from Racerlight, but he does steer too close to the wall, and Devil has the opportunity to get a vital point in his attempt at a comeback. In fact, he's even ahead of Dopamine.
Yeah, he's doing very well here. Very, very nice
avoids
runs.
the grass this time. His technique on that corner has been completely corrected.
Very nice. So
Might
even though
finish first
yeah,
this round.
I think so. Yeah, there he goes. 120.783. Wow.
That is an elite level time indeed. Dopamine barely behind. Storm just off the pace, and Racerlight, yeah, the mistake.
Little mistake.
Costing him a bit. I think Dopamine might have. I think honestly, this might have even been the last round, and it is.
Yep.
So we are done with rounds. We've seen 12 of them, and now we're into time attack, which features 2 classic flat maps. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Is going to be very close. I think yesterday we saw Mew, Tsuna, and Kez within 300ths of a second of one of the maps, and the margin for gaining a point is 1/10 of a second.
Yeah,
so
that's
gaining
insane.
that kind of advantage against someone is absolutely impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, that will be, but it's good. I think the time attack gives us some chance to talk about the drivers here and what they can do. So
yeah, Devil in particular has to feel like time attack is not only his best chance, but also his only chance to score the comeback. So he's currently 4 points to 8 points by Racerlight. So that's a 4-point deficit.
Yeah.
And last match of his was against Spider. This is how he got here. He won by 1 point after trailing 6 points after rounds. This time it's only 4. He has made the comeback happen, but a Spider that doesn't train versus a Racerlight who has trained, you'd think the challenge is a bit higher, and the map pack doesn't really favor him because of how thin the margins are. So
yeah,
he would have to bring out an absolutely top tier performance to secure that final 4 spot and complete the comeback. Meanwhile, Storm, unfortunately, still pointless. Should be able to score now though, just
Dopa,
because of how close the maps is.
Yeah.
So the score is 12-0 for Dopamine against Storm and 8-4 for Racerlight against Devil. 8 minutes then for time attack, and
there we go.
No ability to finish a lap if you run out of time. This is normally not a problem, but this map has about 45-second laps. You have to think about that. You don't need to run out. If you run out of time, you might well end up forfeiting a lot of points. So hopefully the player should set a good time early just to act as a buffer, just to prevent themselves from accidentally being heavily defeated because they couldn't get a good enough lap time in.
Exactly, just a small miscalculation might cost you a lot of points here. So yeah, the flat map here I think will be interesting to see. Racerlight here with a good start and Devil with some touch, but we have
just the first lap. Yeah, they're heading into the timed lap now. And important thing to note, this is a bit of a weird example. So there are no special like TM 2020 specific elements on this flat map, but it's unique because it's a relatively slow map in terms of peak speeds achieved, and it's a map without Rammstein. So you're taking the widest possible lines, and actually the point at which you decide to switch your turning to make that next corner is the most integral part here, apart of course from the releases. Turn in too late, you can't make the corner, you release, you drop a 10th or 2 of a second, then your lap is basically over. And when the laps last 45 seconds, you really can't afford to do that kind of thing. So it's not only a challenge of execution, it is quite literally just you have to set it early as well. This map makes it doubly hard, and it's really a fitting challenge to see the final 4. So
What are we
I
looking for here? What kind of times do you like to see here for a really a
I think
top
Devil has the
time?
fastest checkpoint 10, but I think he might have bled a bit of speed. Who actually sets the fastest time? It is Devil, 48.635.
All
Racer
right.
Light only 500ths of a second behind, 48.68. Dopamine and Storm not really setting too competitive times with about 6 minutes remaining. As you can tell, time flies, and Racer Light and Devil are both going to be happy with the times they've set. I'm thinking 48.3, 48.4.
All right.
Thinking that's the times we are expecting, but it does vary quite significantly. A little bit too much aggression on a map this slow and this narrow, and even though you're going very fast, you are going to lose the lap, regardless of your checkpoints. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Very interesting element there, actually, in this
because
map.
of
So
how little time you have, how difficult
Exactly.
it is actually possible to lose a decent amount of points just because you couldn't get a decent lap in.
Yeah.
And another important thing is actually just on a slow lap when you've already given up, just trying to take a wide line for the final corner to charge into the next lap with more speed. It might not seem like it's a substantive gain, but it's in the end those like hundredths of a second that actually make all the difference. Storm then 48.78, 5 minutes remaining on the clock. Dopamine surprisingly not yet setting a time. Hopefully he does.
Dopamine, I think, on a run now, taking all the checkpoints away here.
I don't
And
think. Yes, that
see
is
if
a
he can
very
finish it.
competitive
Yeah.
checkpoint 5, competitive checkpoint 6, so he might be on pace for the fastest lap that anyone has set yet, but he does need to finish it, so we'll see what happens here. Oh, that's such a beautiful line from Dopamine, absolutely cleaving through the corners. Not the fastest checkpoint 9, but it's basically the fastest, and it is the fastest checkpoint 10, so
There
he's
you
looking
go.
to finish off the lap. What
Will
time
be
is it? 48.38.
48.3. There you go.
And
Wow.
here's something to note. Devil was actually on par with him on checkpoint 10, but choked away 2.5 tenths of a second in the final corner, so his hypothetical time would have actually also been a 0.3, 0.4, so he
Yeah.
actually didn't set his fastest time. That's interesting to note.
Wow.
Only about half the time remaining, and it's Devil and Racer Light that are tied even, and if Devil does keep it this way, if none of them improve on their time, yes, he gets a point, but then he's still 3 points behind.
Yeah, that
And the
wouldn't
next
be
lap
too
is
good.
even more impossible to make huge inroads on, so he does want to get at least 1 or 2 more points, and judging by the checkpoints, he should be able to, but eventually time starts wearing down on you, and you just can't keep up with the pressure. You can't finish it on time. 50-second interval eventually arrives. Racer Light improves, doesn't take the lead, doesn't actually change the point outcome at all, improves only by 300ths of a second.
Wow.
48.65.
Very, very close there, actually. Nothing, almost nothing between them. So, will be interesting to see if one of them can make a big, big improvement to
think
maybe a
Devil is-
0.5, 0.4.
Devil is really the one that has the most to lose because he had a checkpoint 10 literally on pace with Dopamine, but he's 2.5 tenths behind in the overall ranking, so he does want to make something happen. But I think the lap he's on right now is not actually good at all. Nothing happening there, and Racer Light now on a decent lap. Does
Yeah.
this
Yeah, there he
shake?
goes. The 0.5 there for
And
him.
indeed takes the lead, and takes the lead by 7 thousandths of a second. That is more than a tenth. That
Wow.
means an additional point for Racer Light. Dopamine 48.14.
Holy moly.
That's the
Dopa
fastest lap we've
destroying.
seen by a large
Amazing.
margin.
Wow. So now basically all pressure on Devil, right? Because
Exactly.
he needs to take it back there from Racer, especially with Racer gaining the extra point. And 2 minutes. 2 minutes and a couple of seconds here for Devil to do it. So
You need 50 seconds to complete a lap. This means he basically only has... He might not even have, like... he might have this lap, the next one, and maybe the one after that.
ooh,
But after that, you're running out of time.
yeah.
Actually, I'm not even sure he's going to have 2 full laps after this one, thanks to that touch, so... This is where it starts becoming very, very dangerous. Racer Light can still improve in the final seconds, and that would basically bury Devil's comeback opportunities before they've even begun. He needs to make that 48.4 that he had in checkpoint 10 materialize, otherwise it's basically done for.
Yeah, he needs to pressure it here in what might be his one of his last attempts here. Might be his last lap here, or his
Okay,
his
he does.
second
He
to
has time
last.
for 2 laps,
Yeah,
but 2 laps if he doesn't touch. If he touches, then I don't think he might even have time for even one more lap after this one, so
Yeah.
he picked the worst possible time and he touches. Now,
Ooh.
can he make it to the finish line with time to spare for a new lap? I'm not actually sure he can. It might be over before it's begun, so he needs to make it to the finish line with time to spare. Otherwise things are not gonna go well. Storm as well. We said these maps can be close, but he's more than half a second behind Dopamine. That would mean 0 points for him, and it would be 18-0 to Dopamine. That's more of a thrashing than we expected. Devil touches the wall again. I don't think he has time.
I don't think he can make it here. Will be very, very close for Devil with only a minute on the clock left here. A lap takes just a bit more than 48 seconds, so...
He will cross the finish line with barely time to spare.
He needs to make it a PR here. He needs to...
If it's not a PR, it's over. I think he might actually just... He might get caught on the finish line if it's a 48.5 second lap. It might end before he has a chance to finish.
Wow, let's see if Devil can do it here.
Way.
This will be so close. He's fighting for his life here, for points against Razorlight. Of course, Razor's sitting, but...
good either. The pace isn't actually that good.
I think he will not make it here. Will be very close. Let's see what Devil can do here in the last couple of turns.
The pace is improving. If he actually can finish, it would be, I think, best. No, touches the wall. And
that's it for Devil.
That's not going to be good, actually. That is now... It's actually now 14-8 for Razorlight and 18-0 for Dopamine, I think.
14-8. Not looking good for Devil.
That's a 6-point advantage. And the next map, 23-second laps, 24-second laps, and the time between Kez, Tsuna, and Mew was 300ths of a second. Look at the map. It couldn't get any simpler if you wanted. If you take a look at it in free view,
let's see.
Couldn't make it simpler if you wanted to. How are you going to find a tenth of a second here? How do you do it as Devil?
We can show here.
I mean, just look at the map from the skyline. It is that simple. There's nothing strange about it. Of course, it is a map where the absence of Rammsteins changes your playstyle, but basically every one of these elite players knows how to handle this. And Devil says it himself in chat. He choked away 3 good laps, and you can't afford to do that. It's way too late to do that. You're in the top 6 and choking away 3 laps. You might have gotten away with it against some weaker opponents, but this way, no. Actually, it wasn't 14-8. It is 14-9 to Devil, so just 5 points.
5 points between them here, and just like you said, such small margins here. Yeah, perfect match for Dopa. 18-0 on Storm. Storm looking to save his honor, really, with some points.
Dopamine was 0.4 of a second faster than anyone else's lap, and he's playing with the other people that are in the top 6. How
insane.
the hell are you gonna match that?
That's
His time yesterday wasn't a match for a 48.1. I'm just gonna put that out here.
Wow.
A level above. Because with 8 minutes to go, on this map there is no time pressure. It's a 24-second lap. It's easy to start another lap. The checkpoints are placed well, and to be fair, like, you are gonna set a decent lap very quickly, so you won't have to worry about it at all. The problem with this map is something else. It's just that there's no margin to get a tenth of a second. Nobody can actually do it, so you actually just have to be a few hundreds faster and hopefully get that 1 point back.
Yeah.
But then again, you're 4 points behind heading into Endurance, and Razorlight is one of the best Endurance players remaining in the tournament. I think even faster than Dopamine in week 1 when we saw them drive the same maps together and had them both on stream. So Razorlight sets the first time, but it's only a 24.7. We are going to see 24.23 on these later laps. And now that you think about it, what we're seeing today, it might not matter for Razorlight and Devil. They're fighting their own match. But when you really think about it in the context of the tournament, there's only 6 players left. Dopamine is on his way for a 3rd consecutive trophy.
Yeah.
It's not a battle between 6 equal players. It's Dopamine and 5 challengers trying to stop him. The question is,
very true.
Which one of them can actually do it? Because right now, the only person that looks competitive enough to do it is Kez.
Yeah.
We're not going to see a Dopamine-Kez rematch until potentially the grand final.
That would be very interesting. That would be
Dopamine,
very
the
interesting.
first person to set an elite time, 24.3, but again, I think 24.2 should be on the cards. Should be enough time to do it as well. Like, they already have good times and it's 6 minutes, so those tenths will eventually disappear and
Yeah.
should be pretty even by the end of it, so not much to say. In terms of technicalities on this map, I guess it is that final corner actually, because
Mm-hmm.
thanks to no Rammstein, you can take a different route through it that preserves a bit more speed, a bit of a different release than what you might be accustomed to.
Yeah.
So this map is really just all about utilizing all the space available on the road to try to stay in bounds while maintaining as much speed as possible.
Yeah, and Dopa is indeed, like you said, the first one to set a decent time here. Let's see if he can get it down a bit, shave off his times here and get to 24.2 or even a 24.1. Meanwhile, Devil is looking to beat Razorlight with very, very slim margins here, and it will be interesting to see if he can do so. So, like you said, very, very slim margins here.
Only 1,000 of a second between Storm and Devil. If you looked at the laps in parallel, you wouldn't figure where it went. It's just, you're basically dice rolling the timer, honestly. You have no idea where you could have eked out that small of a margin. And there is another interesting idea. I don't think I've seen any of the players use it, but if you are on a very good lap, you can actually just crash the finish. Just crash into the wall next to the finish. You are going to finish that little bit faster at the expense of not being able to start the next lap with any decent speed. Because you have 8 minutes on a 20-second lap, you can actually afford to do that. So, but none of the players actually seem to be going for it. Razorlight might have tried there, but his time actually isn't all that good. Storm 24.37, finally looking to set his first points. I don't think Dopamine can possibly deny him any points on a map like this.
No.
Devil and Razorlight, 100 of a second between them. 100 of a second.
So close. So close here, and that is a problem for Devil, who of course is looking to gain more than 1 point here on Razorlight.
He does need more than 1 point, because Razorlight and Endurance, he's not going to make any mistakes. Like, especially the players know the scores. If you didn't know the scores, I guess you could, are you counting in your head? Do you actually know that you have the advantage? Do you not know? Do you even know the position of the match? But the scores are announced, which means that Razorlight is going to look at his 4 points and he's going to be like, I would have to be 6 seconds slower than Devil.
Yeah.
Do you really expect that from him?
Yeah, he can chill there. Yeah. He has the mental advantage.
Not just that, the second map is just super crash happy. It is the Red Line by Tsunami. It is a map that none of the players finished consistently yesterday, so you're just thinking to yourself, well, maybe he makes another mistake and it's just a free match for me. So he has to take that, but right now it looks like Razorlight is just going to extend that advantage because he has a faster lap time by 0.03 of a second.
Yeah, well done by him, and Devil looking to improve his time here. 3 minutes on the clock still, so a lot of laps possible for him to compete with Razorlight here. And meanwhile, Storm is actually, like you said, putting some good times on the board for himself and looking to gain his first points, so that is going on.
At this point, he's just thinking about the matchup against Mew, because I think it's sealed. Actually, it is sealed because of the 18-0.
Yeah.
Storm would have had to come back with an 18-0 to even force a potential tie, so this will be done the moment Dopamine wins this map. But now that you're looking at this, Storm's level in absolute terms was actually not that bad.
No, he's doing very well.
Because while Mew might have been consistent, his pace was actually not all that great compared to what we've seen thus far. So what you have, actually, is going to be a pretty even matchup between Storm and Mew, even though you wouldn't guess it by the scores, because obviously Spider gave up the match, so Mew registered a 36-0 victory or a DNF victory. So you think he dominated, and Storm lost very heavily to Dopamine, so you think he had a bad performance, but looks like a closer match than actually it might seem at first glance.
Yeah, I think that might be very, very close, actually, as we...
Devil actually has a very nice checkpoint 2 here. If he finishes this lap, it might be what he's looking for, but no, I think he dropped it heading into checkpoint 3. I mean, when it's a tenth of a second, it's not even about making a mistake or releasing too late. You just have to be perfect, be even faster.
Yeah.
If there was little margin for error before, Well, now there's no margin for
Nah, there's just no
make a
room.
single mistake and the lap is done.
Yeah.
Now, yes, you can put out a lot of laps, but that doesn't change the fact that it's still gone if you make a single mistake. I think he's on good pace though. Final corner looking good, so maybe he improves, but
Oh, no.
touches the wall in the end.
Yeah, there you go,
Gonna
that
be
one
it.
mistake. Very, very sad for Devil there, who was indeed on good pace. Very nice looking, but he couldn't finish it off, and now he only has 1 more minute left.
And when you think about it in absolute terms, it's not just about the fact that he would have to come back against, I think, a 6-point advantage heading into endurance. He also has to come back 6 points while being tilted out of his mind that he wasn't able to finish a time attack lap, which would have actually halved that deficit.
That's very true.
He has to feel that he wasn't, beaten as much as he personally choked. Which, of course, is doing an injustice to how good his times were in absolute terms, but he's still going to feel that way, and that's going to feel pretty bad.
Yeah,
I don't think
true.
this lap is it, quite honestly. I don't think his pace is going to be good enough to actually improve, but you never say never. Maybe the final corner is the secret that he's been looking for, but I don't think it is, and indeed it is not. 24.5 gives it up, and it's Racerlight with a 6-point advantage. That is 20-14, I think, in that particular match, and Dopamine, that's 24-5, I believe, against Storm. So that match is officially over, and Dopamine is qualified for the final 4 of the Primetime Cup.
Dopamine
Sort of to be
once
expected,
more
but
there. Insane.
Still in dominant fashion, and in a fashion that looks very, very convincing, looking just as good as Kez did yesterday in the loser bracket. So I don't think he has to be afraid that the next matchup is going to be too difficult. So he's heading straight into, I think, semifinal 1.
Yeah.
Which is actually interesting, because I just remembered something. Semifinal 1 crosses with the winner of Kez versus the loser of Devil and Racerlight. So it can be a Dopamine Kez semifinal.
That's interesting. That would be very, very nice to see. Actually,
that actually can happen.
That would be very interesting.
So that is pretty interesting, actually. That wouldn't be a rematch from round 1 of the winners bracket. It would be Kez's chance at revenge.
Yeah.
Last
that would
time
be
he
insane.
only lost. He lost by 4 points, and he actually gave all 4 points up in rounds. He actually made a comeback against Dopamine in endurance. Not a lot of players can actually say they're capable of doing that, but he did.
That is very nice to put in your resume. That's very, very good.
That is very nice to put on your resume.
Let's see if that will happen. We'll keep an eye, of course, on all the matches going on. And right now we're up for the next challenge here. And actually Devil is up for the next challenge, because I think he is under pressure right now. He needs to absolute peak perform against Racerlight, who is,
the problem
I think, comfortable right now.
Not only comfortable, he essentially has this match under packs. It would take a choke of epic proportions for him to actually drop it, because 6 points, I'm just going to put that into time constraints for you. Racerlight would have to drop a map by 15 seconds to drop a 6-point advantage. And he can be 7 to 8 seconds behind on both maps and be... Actually, yeah, so 6 seconds on each map or 15 seconds in total, and that's what I think Devil would have to achieve. And these maps, they are a bit more open to you getting a pace advantage, especially if you have very good training on the last one and your opponent doesn't. But that's not really an assumption I would like to base my comeback on when I'm in the top 6 and Racerlight is looking just as good as he always has.
Yeah, that's true. That's that puts it in nice perspective, I think. So let's see what Devil can do, and let's see what Racerlight will do here. And yeah, actually on the way.
Another thing to note is that we want to look at the time in endurance and in absolute terms here, because Mew actually managed to put together a pretty decent 17-lap run here yesterday. I believe the final time was 10:18 or 10:16. So it should be interesting to see just how good that was compared to the 4 drivers here at the moment.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Leading at the end of lap 1, but It's just, quarter of a second between the two of them. It looks like the Danes are in the advantage, looking like Astralis in Counter-Strike 2 years ago. Not that good this time, as well, they could be eliminated from the major before the top 16 stage, but
exactly. But it is indeed looking good for them, and I think we will keep an eye on Razorlight here, and see if he can keep it up and stay within that, in total, 15-second margin that you named earlier. Of course, that is in total.
15 seconds on one map, or it would have to be 6 seconds on both maps, which,
exactly.
As unlikely as that is, like, you have to get 6 seconds on one map, let alone on both of them.
Yeah, so that will be interesting.
But now that Razorlight is behind on pace, this is kind of the problem of Endurance. In low-level matches, it is just a battle of consistency, because players will make mistakes at that low of a level, and you'll just be able to, drive safely. You don't need to think about your pace that much, as long as you're on the track and not crashing and not driving terribly slow. You are probably going to win the match, or at least not lose terribly.
Yeah.
Problem is, at this high of a level and on a flat map no less, with no shenanigans afoot, the pace actually does begin mattering in these high level matches. And if you are 0.8 of a second behind Devil now, maybe that doesn't seem like much. It isn't enough to gain a point. But the problem is, if you make even a single mistake as Razorlight, that second quickly compounds and pushes you over that 6-second margin. Maybe that is the magic number that you're looking for.
Yeah, that's
so you
very,
have
very
to
true.
stay close, otherwise a relatively insignificant mistake is just gonna bury you completely.
Exactly, the mistake will be like accelerated because you are a little bit behind already, so that will be very interesting.
Doesn't really look just based on the eye test, all of the other players are setting faster lap times than him, and he looks off the pace here. I'm not sure why that is exactly. Maybe he trained a bit less, maybe he's in full safe mode because he believes that there's no way he's actually going to be slow enough to lose the match by pure pace. Or maybe this map is also a great example of the problem of flat maps when there's no Rammstein. You must take advantage of that additional space, or you're just a bit too late to every corner, and you release a bit here and a bit there, and suddenly 2 to 3 seconds elapse, 2 to 3 tenths elapse, start evaporating out of nowhere.
Wait, what?
Holy shit.
Raptor, what the fuck have you done, actually? Holy shit.
God damn.
Raptor with the 25 gifted subs. What the hell, mate? Are you insane here? Holy shit. I will mute the event sounds for now so that we can go on actually with the match. But holy shit, dude. Insane. Thank you so much. Sorry that we cut in the casting here, but holy shit, that is flabbergasting.
That's absolutely worth. That's absolutely worth a bit of a bit of a break.
What the hell?
NASCAR community comes through.
And it's Raptor again. Yeah, we've seen him do it. I think in the weekly NASCAR event that was where he was on fire, and now again. So gifted subs to.
Razorlight touches the wall. Razorlight touches the wall. He makes a mistake. How much time is he going to lose to that? It's a small touch, but still, this could push him over the 3-second margin. Doesn't look to be the case. He was a second behind. Now is 1.6 behind, but bit of a weird line starting the lap. It might be about 1.7, 1.8 on this checkpoint, and indeed it is 1.8 seconds.
So here we go. Devil looking for a miracle. And Razorlight, he isn't really in it for now, I think.
To be fair, it is just 1.7 seconds. In absolute terms, it is actually a pretty good pace. We have to compare with Mew in the end.
That's true.
I do think they're actually on a good pace, and Razorlight actually is making up time to Devil, because Devil has lost touch with Dopamine by about 0.4 of a second, but still, the Danes ahead of the Germans right now.
Yeah, looking good for them. But like you said, still just 1.7, 1.835 here for Racer, and
but only 1.5 seconds to Devil, and that's the margin that he's actually looking for. So it's about 1.5 seconds in both the matches individually, if you look at it that way, and that's not enough to regain an additional point.
No.
Sure, you're gonna reduce Razorlight's lead, but you're not gonna cut into it enough to stand a chance of either forcing a tiebreaker or winning.
No. It will
and
not
when
be
you consider
enough,
that the loser of that match draws Kez, well, losing suddenly doesn't feel whatever anymore, because you're facing an arguably even harder match next week.
Yeah, Very true. Based on times and based on what Cash showed, that will be very hard.
I don't think Devil actually, with the level of performance he showed today, I don't think he wins that unless he either becomes drastically more consistent and finishes his time attack times, which are quite promising, of course,
Yeah.
or something happens. The Kaz just, I don't think the level of performance is quite high enough, although it obviously is very high in absolute terms, and it's Dopamine this time.
Dopa
Comes ahead
taking
of Devil
lead
by
here.
about
Yeah.
8/10 of a second, and Razorlight and Devil, there's no relative movement between them. It's about 1.5 seconds, and that's not exactly much of a margin. Definitely not enough to regain that additional point. So you're hoping for
Nope.
another mistake.
Yeah, but Devil. Ah.
You
If
can't hope for mistakes
someone.
when it's already 11 laps in. You
Yeah.
only have 6 laps remaining, and it's not the kind of map where you really make a lot of mistakes.
And also not the player who is making a lot of
Exactly.
mistakes. Razorlight is, of course, his pace, if you compare it to Devil, for now has been a little bit slower, but he has been alright here. He's doing what he needs to do, which is keep it up a bit, and it's just not enough what we see from Devil right now. So, yeah, will be very,
To
very
be
hard for
fair,
him.
this is, I mean, you can't really call it a downside. It's not necessarily a downside, but this is what you can see with the Primetime Cup match format. Endurance always comes last, and the margin for gaining a point is 3 seconds. And eventually, in matches that are this high level, you can't actually get 3 seconds on pace. There is no way for you to do that.
Yeah.
You would have to put on the performance of a lifetime to gain even a single point, whereas in rounds, within like the span of 3 minutes, you can gain 4 to 5 points of an advantage.
Yeah,
That
very
is
true.
That's sort of the problem with the match format. Again, not necessarily a problem. You still have to win the rounds, you still have to win the time attack.
Mhm.
But you can arrive in a match and put on a good performance like Devil does here, and it won't actually amount to anything. It's just gonna, soften your defeat.
Yeah.
Whether
That's
that's
true.
worth it or not doesn't matter, as Devil might not even have that second and a half. I think he touched, and that gives it up, so he's now only less than a second ahead of Razorlight. He was building a lead previously, so that's gotta hurt.
Yeah.
Because you might like to think that, with a Razorlight mistake, maybe it could have been 3 seconds, but right now I think that's done, and he's just gonna fight to stay ahead.
Yeah, that's what he's looking for right now. And Razorlight cruising towards him. So Devil has been struggling, and exactly as you said, he is taking the lead here. And ooh, another touch.
What is this? Is that
And he
another touch? And yeah, that's just
actually
the end of it.
overtakes here Razorlight, and that might be the end of it
From
indeed.
Razorlight's perspective, he's cruising, right? His fastest lap is 2/10. He has the fastest lap in absolute terms, and he's just taking it very easily because
Yeah,
there is no pressure on the defending player
yeah, that's very true.
in terms when you have a 5-6 point margin. Now, sure, you can only gain 12 points and a 5-6 point margin heading into the final 2 maps. You might think that that's a bit high, and coming back from that is unnecessarily unrealistic, but still
Mhm.
it does mean that these matches aren't really close in their final stages the way they might be in some other esports titles,
Yeah,
and it might take some excitement out of just the high level of play that we're seeing.
yeah, that's
Because
very
even
true.
though they made some small mistakes, this is in absolute terms, I think, a very fast endurance run. We're going to see it at the very end because they're entering the final lap soon, but I think Doppelmine might be on to beat Muse time. I even think some of the players behind him might be on to equal Muse time.
Yeah,
Even
it is looking
though
very fast.
they might have made a few touches, a few mistakes here and there, it's just such an absolutely high level. They can not only drive faster laps than other players just in time attack terms, but they can also repeat them basically as much as they want.
Yeah, that's true. And Dopamine, on to the finish he goes here, and it is looking very good for him. With
I
the
need to check
actual
Muse time again.
but
I'm not exactly sure what his time was.
let's see what he
but
will set here.
Might have even been a 10:20, but I'm gonna have to check that later. It is a 10:20.42. I think Mew
Wow.
was actually. I think Mew might have actually been faster, so that's something for him to cheer about now that he's
That's
watching
good.
the stream. The rest of them finish within about half a second with a 10:23.24. quite a decent time in absolute terms, but obviously for Devil, it's gonna feel bad that you came 3/10 of a second behind Razorlight. That's now a 7-point lead for him, and
Yeah.
you had a wide lead, but in the end, well, you lost it, and it's not gonna come together for anything. And with that, Razorlight is actually the one that finishes the match off, since the 7-point lead now is uncomebackable, even in mathematical terms.
Yeah.
So it's Dopamine and Razorlight, the first two players in the final four of the 2021 Primetime Cup.
There you go.
Devil gonna play for Pride. Storm gonna play for Pride as well, trying to reach that 10-point margin against Dopamine. Dopamine leads 30-9.
Yeah. So
Razorlight
Dopa,
26-19.
Dopa and Racer continuing here. I think Dopa, of course, strong, was the favorite beforehand. Razorlight Devil 26-19 here. Of course, we still have to play one map, but that's an interesting score, I think. I did not expect that.
In all honesty, it just comes down to rounds. When you look at it this way, Devil choked away. I mean, choked away is a bit of an unfair term, but considering he had one corner left, I would say choked away. 2.5 tenths of a second in the time attack. If you count those 2 points to him, if you count the one where he lost by 0.006 of a second, if you take into account the 4 mistakes he made in rounds, if you take into account that he choked away a point or potentially 2 points in endurance right there, that actually adds up to the 7-point margin he's missing. And if he had just that little bit extra, maybe only 5 to 10% extra, he could have actually been the one qualifying to the final four. So
yeah, that's very true. Very true.
It's a good performance, but now you're in the loser bracket and your opponent is Kez.
Yeah, that will be a hard match. And like you said, potentially even harder than this one. Actually, are they... oh, never mind, it's still warm-up. I was very confused
and Mew
here.
also checked the time, so 10:20 was his time as well, so Dopamine did an equivalent time to Mew, and Mew was actually therefore a few seconds faster actually than all of the other players here, so definitely something for him to be proud of, considering he did have some very unfortunate accidents in some of his earlier endurance runs.
Yeah, it's that's a good one to take for him, and will be interesting to see what he can do from the other side of the bracket still, of course, here. So yeah, almost on to the last 4 players in total in this tournament. Will be very, very interesting to see.
6 still remain.
Yeah.
We're not gonna lose 2 more of them until we see the loser bracket matches. That's when we're gonna eliminate the final 2 and secure the entirety of the final 4.
Yeah, that will be interesting. Very, very
but
interesting.
When you look at it, honestly, it kind of went as expected in some ways. Because when you look at the final 8 that were remaining, Spider was a candidate to go further, but he no-trained. Tsuna, I guess, was perhaps by name power the weakest player of the 8. He actually put up a decent fight, but against Kez, there was little he could do. There's Kez. You kind of expect him to be in that top 4, just from the 32 players in terms of skill.
Yeah. And
Raptor, did you rob a bank, actually? Did you actually rob a bank?
Holy fuck.
God damn.
What is going on here, man? This is absolute insanity. Raptor giving away 45 subs in total here, 20 more now as we go on with the last endurance map here. Thank you so much, Raptor, an absolute fucking legend. Holy shit. Thank you so much, man. Amazing. Always good to see this in the community. Very, very nice. And of course the last map of the evening, but we celebrated here with 20 more gifted subs by Raptor. GG. All cheer in the chat. Very,
and about
very nice.
20 people watching, which is more than we've had for any other Primetime Cup match thus far. So, you know,
it's good.
Nice to see people out in force with the NASCAR community.
Exactly.
This is the final map, and we already have 2 players who made a mistake in the very first lap. This pretty much tells you all you need to know about this map. So there are a number of interesting elements that I like to point out as I watch. Alright, so he's spectating Devil, so we're gonna watch here. What the interesting part about this map is not just this beginning, which is, you know, it's pretty vanilla as far as the no drift section goes. But first this corner. You can touch the wall here on the exit very easily. If you don't, then this 180 is much sharper than you think. You can touch the exit here as well. Then you have this alternate route, potentially, if you're coming in with overspeed.
Yeah.
And you have this corner where you have either a drift or a no drift. Kez no drifted it. Dopamine suggests drifting. Then after this loop, you can take the right-hand side and actually just cut out 0.2 of a second per lap and still make the first corner of the following lap.
Wow.
So there's actually a number of elements to this map which unfortunately don't mean anything, because this map is so prone to crashing that it doesn't end up mattering at all, because mistakes are actually what decides it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bit of a shame.
Ah, that's true. But it's interesting to learn about a lot of those elements in one map, like hidden, and different strategies that people can take. As we see Devil actually making a small mistake there.
Kez set a 41-second lap time, actually. 41.7
Wow.
during his endurance run. Now, admittedly, because of the way the match had unraveled, he was basically playing it like time attack.
Mm-hmm.
But, to be fair, I do want to see if any of the players here are going to match that while actually playing endurance, or if that was something that was a little bit too risky to see in an actual match.
Yeah. That's
Devil nowhere to
interesting.
be seen. 4 seconds behind Devil.
Yeah, he's very, very far away. Don't know exactly
Unfortunately,
what
multiple
happened there,
mistakes
but
must have caught up to him, and that's unfortunate. So
Yeah.
this is interesting. Dopamine drifts that right-hand banked corner that he just drove through. Kez
Mhm.
no drifted. And judging by the lap times, and also Kez takes that right-hand way, Dopamine goes left-hand. Now, I'm assuming that Dopamine didn't exactly, spend a lot of time training, especially considering this is arguably the easiest match he's going to face in a while, so maybe he can take some liberties.
Yeah.
But it's still interesting. I'm not sure if this map pack is replayed. I don't think it is. I think there's a new map pack for semifinals.
Mm-hmm.
The Final Four, that is. But it's interesting, right? We kind of wish we could see this more often, that these
Yeah, that's
strategic decisions impact things, but most
Yeah.
often it's just mistakes even at the very highest level, which I guess is an inevitable part of NASCAR.
Yeah, that's very true. But this is very interesting to see that Dopa is
Devil time attacking 41.54.
Wow.
He does manage to beat Kez's time, and
Nice.
it's 9/10 of a second faster than Dopamine's fastest lap. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Wow.
That's how much you can actually gain on this map. If this map wasn't so, unsafe and prone to mistakes, you could actually gain a lot of time just by having the right strategy and being daring enough to execute it, which
Yeah.
I guess people could wish that the PTC was all about.
Yeah, that's very true. And actually, when we're talking about it, Mu asked the question: PTC or TWNE? Where would you put your favor? If both were just
the PTC. Well, the PTC, just because the TWNE is a good format. I like long-running league-style formats, but the problem is that people have a very spotty attendance record. Like, if you notice the PTC, the tournament lasts for multiple weeks, and players like Spider, for instance, and like myself, we just don't have time, and we don't train for the later rounds, and eventually you just show up with a pretty poor performance. You don't really have time to play.
Yeah.
The TWNE suffers from the same thing, where you might be interested in it, you start off, and then you don't show up for events, and the leaderboard ends up making no sense at the very end.
Yeah.
That being said,
exactly.
both events are phenomenal. Both events should exist.
Mhm.
I think we really can't afford to lose any of the competitions we have in the NASCAR community,
That's true. Yeah.
and we're gonna see what happens. But the problem is really that the players in the community, we have lives, and we have to get that done, and there's not a lot of time to play because the tournaments always last long. They're multiple weeks, and they're usually one behind the other. There's the SNC in the summer, then autumn comes around, and the PTC also lasts for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Then there's a TWNE, it lasts for a couple of weeks. BFNL lasts for a couple of weeks. There's just no time to participate in them all, and if you're not participating with everyone, then the event is diminished, because the NASCAR community is not that big in absolute terms.
Yeah,
You don't
that's
want
true.
to have an event where the elite players are not attending, and when the elite players are not attending, the level is just not the same. So this year, of course, we don't have Razi, we don't have Fluff, we don't have Panda, we don't have a number of great players which would have put on good matches and ranked quite highly in the tournament. You already know it, but they didn't attend. Of course, not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing. They have to take care of priorities.
Yeah, it's true.
But it is a shame. You do wonder how they would have performed in this position and what we would have potentially seen if they had competed.
Yeah, and do you think then that, of course, with that, you lose a little piece of quality when players like that do not show up to a tournament like this?
Potentially.
Or
I mean, you do, but at the same time, I think that even this year, 32 players, we had a pretty good tournament. Of course, people in chat now reminding me that there's about 7 elite NASCAR players that I forgot. And yes, that is true.
yeah.
It's just, you start with the most recognizable examples. But the point is, yeah, you always end up missing out when some of the great players either have to withdraw from the tournament or you're not playing the tournament. Raptor had to withdraw early, and he was playing quite well before that. So if you watched his early matches, he was on a decent level. And
Yeah.
you know he would have come up clutch because he is such a great player. Willie Gamer,
Yeah.
of course, Slayer, although has Slayer competed in a major NASCAR tournament in the last, I don't know,
Way to go, chat.
5 years?
Way to go. Chat putting it out there. But no, it's true what you are saying. And
And of course, we also don't have Shimmy this year, so
Yeah,
that's
very
also
true.
interesting.
yeah,
And I said before that right now the top 6 is Dopamine and 5 challengers. But I don't think that would have necessarily been the case if we had some of the, we are missing some of the biggest names this year, actually.
yeah. Yeah,
You
it's
know that
true.
if Shimmy and Fluff were in the top 6 and Panda was in the top 6, you would probably have, you would start thinking about, is Dopamine's level actually that good right now?
Yeah,
Does he
exactly.
actually have what it takes to secure his third trophy? Because you know these players are going to rip you to shreds if you're not at 100%.
Yeah,
This is not something we're going to see, but this year we have, of course, Kez. Lost the first match because he played Dopamine, and then he won 5 in a row. And
Yeah.
against Devil, he's going to try to win his 6th. Needs to take a quiz to name all NASCAR Elite players that he forgot. Now you're just being rude, Mew. Now you're just being rude. You try casting. Come on.
Moo, let's do triple cast one time. That would be very funny. No, but it's
Meet in real life in a recording studio to cast tournament with ASMR quality microphones.
yeah. That's a thing, man. Wow, real life casting. That's a long time since I have done that. Long time. For
Bit
some
of,
esports events, but yeah, it was really fun.
2022 Primetime Cup live edition on
That would be insane. Yeah, where can I write my name down? Let's fucking go.
of a LAN edition. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that
That
would
would
probably
be-
be the most, alternate universe.
Yeah. Insane.
So
Very
instead
nice.
of gifting 45 subs, we gift people bus tickets.
Yeah, exactly. So they can come to some kind of place. Yeah, that would be sick. Quadruple stream would be insane.
Okay, now we're just going to get into a bit too many people, eh?
Yeah. It's a lot of
On
people
the final
here.
lap now, Dopamine with basically a mistake-free run. I basically think it was. All of the players, there was 45 seconds behind, just decided to give it up after setting a 41.54.
Yep.
Went for a bit of a time attack here at the very end. Now that he knows that he's in the loser bracket in that final round,
There we go.
and that's the end of that. We're done
Woo.
here. Dopamine and Racerlight, first 2 players in the top 4. Final scores will be coming through. Dopamine 10:01 on this map is actually a very impressive time because it requires both great speed and consistency, and he actually managed 41-second laps just while driving consistently.
Yeah,
So great performance from
it's
him.
very impressive. Very nice. Yeah, so that brings it
36 to
brings it to an
13
end.
for Dopamine against Storm. So 13 points for Storm, not that bad. Match against Mew should actually be pretty close based on the level that we've seen. judging
Looking
by
forward to
pure pace.
that. Yeah. That will be very
Absolutely.
interesting.
And Racerlight 32-19, Devil apologizing for not performing and giving us a good match. I just have to put it out there. He might have lost by 12 points, but the level in absolute terms was so incredibly high.
Hmm.
If you just have a bit more luck in rounds, if you just get that one lap finished, if that final corner doesn't and that final corner ends up coming through, it would have been a match that went down to the wire against Racerlight of all people.
Yeah.
You can't lose confidence heading into a match against Kez. You just have to say, All right, I did my best.
Yeah.
Reset mentally and just say,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm gonna smash him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very, very true. Very true. It was interesting to see, I think, overall. I think we saw very high level of performance, and just like you say, just a bit of luck is needed sometimes, and rounds is a big decider in that. But yeah, it was very nice. Very nice to be here, actually. 1 hour, 15 minutes, something like that. So yeah, very, very good.
And it is another thing to point out, we didn't lose any of the players today, so you are going to
No.
see them one more time.
Yeah.
And the losers bracket matchups have now been finalized, so if I actually read the bracket draw correctly, I think we're going to have Devil versus Kez, and that should be Mew versus Storm. So 2 incredible matches yet
Wow.
again.
Yeah.
And if I need to check this so I don't say the wrong thing, but it might even be on the same map pack.
Wow.
I need to make sure, and it is. We are going to play
Wow.
on the same map pack for the final round of the loser bracket, which means they already have experience. All 4 of them have shown a great level, and they know the maps. So there's just no excuse. You have another week to prepare.
Wow.
And you should be able to just come through.
Very nice. Yeah, that will be very, very interesting to see. So anyways, guys, if you're wondering where everyone is going now, just make sure next week we're back on the same map pack with the same tournament, Primetime Cup, and it's not over yet. But today we saw some great action, I think, and it was very nice. I have to say, it's very, very nice to hear you casting. I really, really appreciate it. You are on a very high level.
Anytime. We're gonna do
Very
a
nice.
lot more of this. You should expect that.
Yeah, it would be very
Grandma
great.
has that clout and reach that I don't really have. So he brings in the viewers and I bring the casting, and
Yeah,
we're
you
gonna
deserve it.
try to give everyone a good show and just Jesus Christ, Raptor.
Raptor again. Holy shit. Yeah,
My
it's
God.
absolutely insane. Raptor, my man, I will thank you personally after this, but what you are doing is absolutely incredible. And he held his word, because he had some kind of bet going on with Storm taking points, so that is actually happening. Oh my god. I don't know if there's actually people left in the chat right now that can take subs, but it's just given to people.
I'm pretty sure that there weren't any left after the second round, let alone now.
Exactly.
So...
Yeah. People will wake up and see maybe in their mailbox that they got a subscription to this channel, so maybe they will come here, check PTC out next time. But yeah, we'll see. Absolutely amazing, Raptor. Thank you so much. Yeah. And I also saw that somebody bought, and I think it was Lucky Shot bought Whiskey End. So I will grab a bottle of whiskey pretty soon, and we will chill out here a bit.
I like the sound of that. We can do that.
Just chill. That's very good.
Post PTC talk and chill.
Exactly.
227 euros.
Insane. Holy fuck, man. We will make sure that will go back straight to you guys. 100%.
Honestly, just make that the prize pool for finals. Goddamn.
Yeah, exactly. That would be insanity.
Bit of a monetary prize for the winner. Maybe inspire a little bit of extra training, the best performance possible. But
yeah, who knows?
You never know. Yeah.
Actually, let me see here, because the bet, of course, guys, has ended as well. There we go. So everybody voted on Racer. Wow. So everybody who could vote did vote for Racer. So there you go, guys. Racer actually won.
With confidence for him.
Yeah, that is
and
interesting.
If you're a Racer, this has to be your best chance to enter the grand final you've had any year. You're crossing Mew and Storm. Whoever wins, you were faster than Storm today, and you have to think you're more consistent than Mew.
Yeah.
This has to be his year with no Fluff in attendance, no Shimmy in attendance. He has to come past that top 4.
Very true. Yeah, would be interesting to follow him and see what he will do. And it might be his year indeed. It's normal for the best casters. I don't know. There was only one good caster today. I did just sit here and listen.
Oh well. Now you're just undervaluing yourself for
Ah,
no
it's
reason at all. That'll be all from me, actually. In the
all
sense
right.
that I really have nothing more to say. We've had a great match today. We've had a great tournament, and this time, so much of it has been streamed and recorded that hopefully we'll actually have something to view in a couple of years and just come back to these matches, which definitely had some classic rounds. Maybe we'll even make
100%.
a montage of the best ones in the end. We'll see actually how much time we find.
Yeah, that's
That's all from
interesting.
me.
All
Thank you
right.
for having me, and we'll dual cast again next week. Until then,
Yeah, looking
bye.
forward to it. All right. Bye bye, man. See you later. All right, guys.